America's heartland. This is GJRB, Clinton, Iowa.
And welcome to the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online. We got a great program coming up. Stay tuned. We're going to be talking about that whole issue behind that guy being dragged off the plane. We're going to talk about that. Yesterday's San Bernardino shooting and a whole lot more coming your way next on the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online. But first, it's time to take a look at the news. It's 2 o'clock in the Central Time Zone.
True news that's not in the mainstream.
And it is 2 o'clock in the Central Time Zone right now. And over in the East, it's 3 o'clock. And we are at noon Pacific Time. I'm Gary J. Russen at the GJRB News Desk. And here's some of the stories we're covering for you this afternoon. Topping our news this afternoon, the multiple shooting yesterday in San Bernardino, California. Weiss Elementary School in their classroom in San Bernardino, there was shots fired without saying a word. Killed her. 8-year-old student before that, also shooting himself. A murder-suicide that spread panic across the city. 9-year-old also was critically wounded. He and a boy who also died behind there as a special education teacher, Karen Aileen Smith, 53, was the target. The shooting left hundreds in distraught and was due to a domestic dispute. Staffers News Cedric Anderson had an estranged wife for about a month, and they got into school by saying that he had to drop something off. And without saying, shots were fired. Anderson had a history of weapons, domestic violence, and possible drug charges, also predated before his marriage. He frequently wrote social posts about his wife in the past month and appeared on Facebook pages as well. Smith's mother, Irma, said her daughter had been friends with Anderson for about a year before they got married but then separated. In other news, the story behind the diabolical ISIS attack over the weekend in the Egyptian Coptic churches. That is news that we're going to be talking about here in just a few minutes on the Gary Russen program. I'm Gary J. Russen. This is true news that's not in the mainstream on GJRB. On the next radio, television, and movie classics, I have more rarities like promos from the 70s and 80s. Buddy Epson's in the actor's profile. The forgotten show profile will be Ghost Story, hosted by Sebastian Cabot. More classic and forgotten cartoon shows in the Kids Corner, and we'll go into the projection room. Come with me down memory lane for a new radio, television, and movie classics. Saturday, April 22nd at 2 o'clock Central on GJRB.
Quote their favorite prey. They call them infidels, and in fact after the December 2016 bombing they said that this was just the beginning. And part of the strategy, Steve, is to stir up strife between both Muslims and Christians. As I was talking to this believer in Egypt earlier today, he said that the majority of Muslims and Christians do get along. In fact, he made the point that said that the policeman in the church in Alexandria was a government official. He was a policeman. He actually saved many Christians' lives by confronting the suicide bomber. And I think he said that's a very important point to make to the rest of the world, that in many ways Muslims and Christians do live together peaceably inside Egypt. But ISIS, part of their strategy is to stir up strife. Part of their strategy is to destabilize the government of President El-Sisi. And so as people are asking for prayer for the church, they're also asking prayer for the government of Egypt, that it would be able to bring some stability to the situation.
And that is once again the explanation as to what happened over the weekend when those Coptic churches were attacked. United Airlines is apologizing for pulling a passenger off a plane that was overbooked.
One man's travel nightmare has gone viral today. Check out a guy getting forced off an oversold United plane. The flight was going from Chicago to Louisville on Sunday night, and 4 passengers were randomly selected. 3 left peacefully, but this guy did not want to go, and so was dragged off the flight in front of other passengers. You can see he's got blood on his face there. Another angle shows him being pulled out of his chair. He's yanked, and it looks like his head hits an armrest, which is potentially what caused the bloody face. He's then dragged out the front. Apparently, he came back onto the aircraft after he was dragged off and screamed that he really needed to get home. Security then came back and took him away. United said they're looking into the incident.
And we'll be talking about that coming up next on the Gary Russen program. That's the news up till now. News when you need it. This bottom at the top of the clock, keeping you on top. GJRB True News on the hour. I'm Gary J. Russen at the GJRB News Desk. And now let's get into the Gary Russen program coming up right now on GJRB. Now it's time for the Gary Russen program, discussing what's in the news, sports, and other things happening in the world. And now, we can talk to you live. Area code 563-613-4260. See you live with deception. This is the beacon of truth on internet radio. This is the Gary Russen program on GJRB. And hello everyone, hello everywhere across America and around the world. Welcome to the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online. And originally I was going to do this as a live stream on YouTube. I think I'm going to kind of pull that off for just a little bit. We'll do that another time. I'm going to be working on an idea for something like that. So we're not now. We're just going to have a little bit of fun and do our semi-freestyle show today. Today is Tuesday, and normally is a tight show day, but we're going to kind of do a mixture of different things today here on the Gary Russen program, and I hope you'll join me today. Semi-freestyle meaning that we kind of do a little tight things, and on top of that, we just kind of mix it around a little bit, and we just have a little bit of fun with you today here on the Gary Russen program. So, stay with me. We got a great show coming up. Well, we're live all over the place here, all over the country, here on GJRB Online on Spreaker. So I hope you're enjoying the program, and I hope you keep it here live for the Gary Russen program. Yeah. So we got some really neat stuff, really interesting stuff to talk about today. I mean, really interesting. Wow. What do you think? Another school shooting. Again, yesterday morning, San Bernardino, California, mouthful, same town that another shooting about 15 months ago took place, and this time at an elementary school, and a guy had some bit of a little conflict with his wife, and he had to kind of air his dirty laundry in public, in front of little kids, which I think is inappropriate. One teacher and one student shot dead. One critically wounded. When does this end? It's time. It's a case of drama here. A domestic dispute dragged out in public. When the gun falls in the hand of a mentally deranged fool, you get this. Now I ask you, does anyone, those little ones, deserve what this just happened? When they were trying to get an education? No. We have to start arming our citizens, ones that are like stable-minded, the ones who can put a stop to this. We need to give the guns back to the stable-minded, law-abiding citizens to stop and stop these no gun zones. You see, here's what's happening. A lot of these deranged fools see that it's a no gun zone. They know that the people are unarmed, unprotected, and they can go in there in a rampage and do what they want. That's just it. Now, if you had 5 people pointing a gun at this fool, he'd flee like a mouse with a cat after him. Wouldn't try to shoot. It would put the end to these shootings. At all, it would put an end. I just believe it. Taking guns away from law-abiding citizens to defend their lives is not the answer. Jim Fisher, who's a local talk show host here on WOC in Davenport in Quad City, said, throwing an eraser just doesn't work. You have to arm our teachers, principals, school administrators to put an end to this useless death. Really. And how about this bit with this United Airlines? I saw that video, and I'm going, what the heck? This guy was dragged from the plane. Literally. Dragged from the plane. Okay? And he was... It was overbooked, apparently. The flight was overbooked. Okay? So, what happens? They take this guy... They grab this guy, and they, drag him. They drag him. I mean, what's the point of that? All the way out the plane, like a child who is maybe defiant. Dragged them from the plane, okay? Tell me if this is really, really stupid. Okay, I don't know why the airlines can do this now, apparently. They can do this. Now, this guy's a doctor, apparently, from, Kentucky? He's a doctor from Kentucky. They pulled him from the plane, right? And here's what they did. They pulled him from the plane, and they dragged him out of the plane. He was bloody because I guess he bumped his head or did something on one of the armrest on one of the seats. Apparently he bumped his head on it or something. They still dragged him out of the plane. This guy had his head split open with a concussion. They still drag him out of the plane. I'm telling you what. Have no desire to fly. Do not know more. This kind of garbage happens at the airport. This kind of garbage happens on an airplane. I have no desire to fly at all. I don't want any part of it. No way am I going to get on a stupid plane. No more. I flew at one time. I've flown planes at one time. And in those days, we didn't have this garbage. I was on a plane long ago, back in the 80s, way before the attack on America. Way before there was all this mess. Way before we had all this tight security and TSA agents and all this other stuff. Now, I would just be too afraid to take a plane because of what I've just seen and the conduct that I've just seen on an airplane when you have someone get dragged off like that for no apparent reason other than I don't understand it. I sincerely don't. There's no reason why we have to have this kind of conduct on an airplane. Why do that? What is wrong with people? This is totally screwed up. I don't know. That just really, really startles me when people like this. And why? I don't know. A guy gets dragged off a plane like that. That's sad. That really is, for an airline to conduct like that. There were some postings on Facebook, and I'll probably talk about that today. When I do my scroll through social media, there's a video of a scene, I think it was from one of the airplane movies. I remember those with those comedies with what's his name? Who was that? Let me see. Who was that guy that was on there? Leslie Nelson. Yeah, he just died not too long ago. Him and that comedy, and they're beating up on this. And they got these people in line. I don't know. I just don't see nothing funny about that. And they were beating up and roughing up this woman. Okay, and I'm going, and back in those days, I guess it was funny. I don't know what I thought was funny about that, but it's kind of sad when you get stuff like this, when people are acting like stupid idiots. It really is sad. I'm sorry, I just think it's really pathetic when you have people acting like morons like that. Look, I think it's sad when you have this kind of conduct going on. So when does this end? Probably doesn't. It's a sign of the end, sign of the times. It's the end of times. People are acting like morons. They're getting erratic behavior like that, like the San Bernardino shooting. It's the evil that was predicted, because we're living in the end times, and this is what's going on. We're going to see more evil like this because you have screw-ups like that, and I don't know. Gotta wonder about it. And I've got more stories coming up this afternoon. Some more news about Russia, about the Syrian attack that Trump got involved in. We'll talk about that this afternoon. And of course, your comments are welcome on here. And we're going to open up the lines. I don't know. I think my cell phone's probably back over by on my nightstand. I'll have to get it. But it's there. And we'll get into the conversation on that and a whole lot more. So stay with me. The Gary Russen program coming up here on GJRB Online. I got weather and the news coming up and a whole lot more fun. So stay with me on GJRB. Be right back.
Watch. Pray. For we not know what hour the Son of God will return. Prophecy. New World Order. Terrorism. Economic collapse. Wars. Pest. Israel. When they say peace, then cometh sudden destruction. Earthquakes. Volcanic eruptions. End time headlines at www.endtimeheadlines.org.
Bible prophecy on the next way out there. We'll look at some future events. On a recent Coast to Coast with George Norrie, Peter Kling was a guest, and he had an encounter with alien beings and saw the future. In addition, strange but true, and a woman who claims to be a mermaid. We'll look at Linda Moulton House Earth Files and more strange fun on Way Out There. Free Style Friday afternoon, April 28th at 2 o'clock Central on GJRB.
This is Michael J. Martin, and you're listening to the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online.
And I'm back, the Gary Russen program on GJRB. Glad you could be with me today, talking a lot about interesting stuff in the news around the nation, around the world. And this is a Tuesday afternoon. Their GJRB, our freestyle, semi-freestyle Tuesday, as we do the last Gary Russen program before our season begins. Our brand new program season is coming up, and we're going to be talking about that a little later on. It's the, of course, the last freestyle Spring Spectacular. It's going to be our last promotion. That's it after that. We're not doing any more promotions after that. It's just going to be basically regular programming, regular schedule, and things like that. We're not going to do the way we always did it with all that highfalutin, overproduced stuff. We're just going to be running programs and doing various things like that. So we're just going to do a variety of stuff. I got continuous programming, automated type programming that we're going to be airing here on the station quite often, and all the details. First, I got some changes that I want to announce while I'm at that. Like I said before, I was going to do a live stream on YouTube. Not YouTube. I'm going to get that coming up. I was going to do a live stream on Facebook, but I decided to change my mind. I'm not going to do it right now because I would like to kind of do a little bit more promotion on that. You never know, I might change my mind, might throw in a live one there or somewhere and see if it would, as an experiment, just to see if I get some kind of listeners out of it, is the whole idea behind that. So, more than likely, I might or might not do it. At this point, I'm not sure yet. I just kind of like, kind of on the debating scale on that one for right now, because I'm not sure if I really want to do that or not. So, it's something that kind of have on hold as an idea, but I don't know if I'm going to pull it off just yet. I was just sitting there thinking about it. It's just kind of talk at this point, but I'm not going to really do anything with it, I don't think, right now. And I don't have anything in weather in the news. I think the news has been kind of quiet. Weather has been kind of quiet lately. We haven't had that many really big stories in the news as far as weather's concerned. I'm sure a lot of people are picking up after some of the tornadoes that we've had over the past time period. But I'm not seeing anything major in weather in the news to really do weather in the news right now. So I'm going to kind of let that go for a little bit. I might see what we got maybe next hour. I might have something, maybe I'll keep an eye on the any postings that come up. There is some isolated thunderstorms coming up that we'll talk about here shortly out down south. And I will talk about that. Apparently, there are some storms down south that are emerging, but and we'll talk about that here when we do our weather on the fives. But I don't see any major storms causing any aftermath, any stories about anything unusual happening as far as storms are concerned. So I'm going to put weather in the news on the back burner for a little bit, and I'll bring it up later on, and I'll see if I can find some stories for you on weather in the news, because I do like to follow some of those. And we'll do weather in the news later on. We'll have some temperatures across America too for you on the show, and like I said before, we're going to talk about some things in our programming schedule, And we'll do a scroll through social media and do Facebook, Twitter, Google+. And who knows, maybe I'll activate that live stream and see what I can get out of it. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Just, semi-freestyle Tuesday, the last Gary Russen program before our season starts. And then we'll be doing some, the season's Gary Russen programs are going to be pretty good. So I'll be working on some of those for you. And, getting into that a bit. So hang in there. We got that coming up. But right now, though, we're going to do weather on the 5s. And take a look at that national weather forecast. Isolated strong to severe thunderstorms are now possible across parts of southern Texas and also the northeast this afternoon, along with the upper Rio Grande Valley late tonight. And on Wednesday, a few of these thunderstorms capable of damaging winds and large hail and will be possible across the southern and central plains, with the highest likelihood over the southeastern New Mexico as far west and far west Texas. So you're going to get some, so people down in that area are going to get some nasty, interesting weather coming up. Okay, so be aware of that. And I'll keep you up. I'll take a look at some of those predictions of what your weather is in your area coming up. But these are going to be under those threats. Watch your weather very carefully.
Johnston and a panel of men and women to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy. In this world of chaos and upheaval, this is the program that puts it all into perspective. How will we survive? God only knows. So trust Him and listen to the last 7 days.
Uploaded as a podcast or live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB. We all run a busy schedule, and maybe we don't have time to catch the Gary Russen program. Well, here's the solution. The best of the Gary Russen program, highlighting the most memorable parts of recent shows. Each podcast I will play clips of previous shows and talk about them. Watch for podcast uploads during the GJRB's podcast weekend on GJRB's public site on Spreaker, reflecting on the past memories of past shows. The best of the Gary Russen program on GJRB.
That sound more like everyone else than anyone else. Hey, all right, it's Kip Casper.
Spreaker is the website which turns anyone into a radio DJ. Log on to Spreaker.com for listening to thousands of radio channels and start creating your own radio today.
The mainstream media is not telling you the truth. They have their own agenda. At GJRB, I have mine, telling you what's really going on with sources like End Time Headlines, InfoWars, Coast to Coast AM, and most importantly, CBN News, keeping you on top of what's happening at the top and bottom of each hour during the Gary Russen program. I'll give you the news and analysis of what I think with Gary J's News and Comment. Get the real news. True news. News that's not in the mainstream. On GJRB. And I got more Gary Russen program coming your way here on GJRB. Hope you'll stay with me. Got really good stuff on the line. And a whole lot more to discuss as we continue with the Gary Russen program. We're going to invite you into the lines and participate in the show. So, come on board. Join me, the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online on Spreaker across America. And join me as we do our live show. And it's always fun doing the Gary Russen program on GJRB because I have a fantastic, fantabulous audience. And I thank you for that. And we've got a few people clicking in here and there. But not as much as I'd like, but, just enough. So, with that in mind, we're going to get ready to do that. So let's take a look at the news headlines. Some of the stories we're covering for you at the top of the next hour include a story on the shark. There's a shakeup, and there's some aftershocks and earthquakes in the Philippines. And Nancy Pelosi on people of faith and morals. Huh, yeah, like she has something to talk about on that. And Shepard Smith, a few other interesting stories on him. We're going to talk about Shepard Smith. There's some things that are starting to aggravate me. I used to like him. We'll talk about that a whole lot more. And, of course, all the news at the bottom of the top of the clock on GJRB, along with your stock market report, all coming up next hour, top of the hour, here on GJRB. I'm Gary J. Russen. This has been a news update on GJRB Online, True News Update. Whether it's baseball, basketball, hockey, even bowling, it's covered on Gary J's Sports page. I'll talk about what's going on in the world of sports all over the USA. We'll read you interesting articles about the players and even keep up with the scores of the games going on live. I'll even have guests from time to time and just talk sports. Better than any newspaper page, it comes alive. Gary J's Sports page, alternating Saturdays at 2 o'clock Central on GJRB Online.
Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radioland. A day of nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between. Like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radioland.
If you're a new emerging artist and want your songs out there, the place to go is Reverb Nation. Reverb Nation, a website purely devoted to new music from new artists from every town and every state in the U.S. If you're a solo artist and recording your own music, it's Reverb Nation. Stop on by, visit, listen to the music. Check out the site, www.reverbnation.com. Put your music out there and gain an audience. Go to Reverb Nation for the best in new music. And remember, if you like your songs played on GJRB Online's Up and Coming, drop me an email at GaryJ65@yahoo.com. And I'll be playing your song on all GJRB Online shows. Remember the name, Reverb Nation.
Watch. Pray. For you not know what hour the Son of God will return. Prophecy, New World Order, terrorism, economic collapse, wars, pandemics, Israel. When they say peace, then cometh sudden destruction. Volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, signs in the heavens. Keep up with world news and events you hear on GJRB's News on the Hour. Go to End Time Headlines at www.endtimeheadlines.org. With a lot of chaos happening, keep in touch with End Time Headlines and GJRB. Watch. Pray. For we not know what hour the Son of God will return. Prophecy, New World Order, terrorism, economic collapse, wars, pest, Israel. When they say peace, then cometh sudden destruction. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, end time headlines at www.endtimeheadlines.org.
That sound more like everyone else than anyone else. Hey, alright, it's Kip Casper.
Spreaker is the website which turns anyone into a radio DJ. Log on to Spreaker.com for listening to thousands of radio channels and start creating your own radio today.
Welcome back. It's the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online on Spreaker. Back on the air. Is getting some things going on here on GJRB Online. You can be part of the show because that's what's part of the fun of the Gary Russen program, is getting involved by listening to the show, but also participating in the talk. And that's what we do here on GJRB Online. Give you a chance to get out there and get your show, be part of the show, and get a chance to put in your 2 cents worth in. I'm hoping maybe there's some people out there that we could do that. Of course, I'm going to spread this show around on all sites, so that here in a bit, so that we can you can be part of it, because this is semi-freestyle day. So you can do it. All you got to do is give me a call, area code 563-613-4260, or you can just let's see. You can go into the chat room, and that's by going into our Spreaker public site and putting in that that site. Now, we're on Twitter as well, so you can participate in both places. I have that available for you. All you got to do is drop in your line there, and you can be a part of the show that way, and really have a chance to join in the show. So you can do that, and we'll make it so that you can be a part of it that way. The chat room is when you go in there, you hit that balloon icon on the GJRB Spreaker widget, and when you hit that icon, it takes you into the GJRB Online chat room, and you can just leave me a message there. Just click it in, and I receive it on my Spreaker mixer, and I reply to you while I'm on the air. Just kind of add to it, and then also read some of your responses to some of your opinions on the YouTube and Google Plus and all those, and read opinions as part of my show. I kind of go in there, and I usually pick up an opinion that I think is interesting, be it interesting stuff that goes on. So I like to have you part of the show. That's what makes it interesting. That's what makes it fun. Doing the Gary Russen program is maybe getting some audience participation and making this show work, which is the whole idea behind it. Letting people know that we're out there, and always nice to do that. So I'd like to have you be part of the show, and I'm always glad that we can do that. Got some stories. We got some leftover stuff from a previous show too, like Barack Obama's daughter. She went into a nightclub, over 21 nightclub, and tried to start a fight. Yeah, this is the defiancy. defiancy. Like father, like daughter, that's what she did. She went into one of those and decided she was going to start some problems, and I don't know, we're going to talk about that coming up. And of course, like I said before, we're going to get into some of those program schedules for you. Got a lot of those to talk about. I got plenty of program schedule that we're going to talk about here. Our Spring Spectacular, which was starting next Monday, rather. Well, just about next Monday. We're going to start the new GJRB Spring Spectacular. Brand new programs, brand new show, and inviting your participation in it. And it's kind of a fun thing to do. I look forward to doing this program, and like you to be part of it. So we got next week, Monday, it all starts now. Tomorrow will be the last day of my cardiac rehab. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it. Yeah. That's it. We're gonna be done. That's it. So, like I said before, it made it official. The Gary Russen program goes back to the original time slot of 2 o'clock Central Time. During my cardiac rehab, I had my show pushed up about an hour ahead, like about 3 o'clock. And that was because at that time I wanted to do more shows, but with cardiac rehab, I was kind of on that verge where I had to say, well, I'm not going to have time to put this together. The shows, I can't, throw them together that fast. And a lot of my programs were pulled because I just didn't have time to put it together. And cardiac rehab just kind of cut an hour out of my schedule, pretty much, as far as getting programs on the air and, getting them set up and, to be broadcast. So I found out that cardiac rehab is over. I finished up. It took me a while to get done. I had to start twice because of my cane. So I was had to pull it. I had to start all over again. And now the countdown is here. I can be free to do a lot more with the radio show. Let's put it that way. Make it simple. I can go back to my regular time slot and be able to do stuff with it. So I'm kind of glad that that's about completed. So here I am. I'm going to be back on the air doing regular programming on days, and that means that on Monday, freestyle on Monday, here on GJRB is going to be the Positive Rock Show, Emerging Mondays. Back on the air, we're going to be bringing back Emerging Mondays, and we're going to talk about that throughout the afternoon here on GJRB Online. So stay with me. We'll be right back. Got more stuff coming right up on the Gary Russen program. Gets warm and the flowers bloom, man. GJRB is starting new programs and bringing back older ones that haven't been on for a while. It's the GJRB Spring Spectacular. All new programs and old ones returning, like Radioland, Gary J's Radio and Television Classics under a new name. Radio, television, and movie classics, featuring not just radio and television broadcast rarities, but also intermissions from drive-in movie theaters and indoor theaters too. Old movie trailers and movie trivia. The Spring Spectacular will also mean the return of the blues with Gary J's Blues House and country bluegrass with Bluegrass Jubilee. New additions to the Gary Russen program, including The Man on the Street, as I take my voice recorder to the streets of Clinton and ask people their opinions on what's going on in the news and lighter fun stuff. GJRB Spring Spectacular starts next week on GJRB.